The alarms screamed through the Imperial Defense Command Center like wounded animals. Officers ran between holographic displays that flickered with urgent red warnings. Admiral Kethra stood in the center of the chaos, her forearms crossed behind her back, her scaled face showing no emotion. She had served the Valorian Empire for 60 cycles. She had seen wars, rebellions, and cosmic disasters, but she had never seen this. "Report," she commanded. Her voice cut through the noise like a blade. Lieutenant Vossall turned from his station, his face pale. "Admiral, the quantum fold barrier has been breached. Sector 749. An unidentified vessel appeared inside our space." "Impossible." Kethra moved to the main display. The barrier network surrounded all 10,000 Valorian star systems. It was designed by the greatest minds in the Empire. No ship could pass through it without proper authorization codes. The technology simply did not exist. "Show me." The screen filled with the image of a ship. Kethra stared at it. The vessel was small compared to Valorian cruisers. Its design was strange. The hull was smooth metal, painted white with blue markings. Solar panels extended from its sides like wings. Chemical propulsion ports dotted the rear section. It looked primitive. Ancient, even. "Have we identified the species?" Kethra asked. "No, Admiral. The design matches nothing in our database. We have records of 47 spacefaring civilizations. This ship belongs to none of them." Kethra felt something she rarely experienced: uncertainty. In her long career, every threat had been known and catalogued. Pirates used stolen ships. Rebels flew Valorian designs. Even the hostile Crithian Dominion had predictable technology. But this ship was completely unknown. Where is it now? Holding position near Hesperus 7, the mining colony. The ship is not moving. It is not attacking. It is just waiting. "Have we attempted contact?" "Yes, Admiral. Standard hailing frequencies in all 47 known languages." No response. "We sent mathematical sequences, universal peace symbols, and even basic pictographs." Nothing. The ship remained silent. Kethra made her decision quickly. "Dispatch 3 heavy cruisers. Formation Delta. Weapons ready but not charged. I want that ship captured intact. If it resists, disable it. Do not destroy it unless absolutely necessary." "Yes, Admiral." Vossall relayed the orders. Within minutes, 3 massive Valorian cruisers broke formation from the nearby fleet station. Each ship was 15 times larger than the mysterious vessel. Their hulls were dark purple, embedded with energy shields that shimmered like oil on water. Plasma cannons lined their sides. Missile bays stood ready. The Empire's military might was legendary. These 3 ships alone could conquer a small star system. Kethra watched the holographic display as the cruisers approached the unknown ship. The mining colony of Hesperus 7 appeared as a small dot on the screen. Thousands of Valorian workers lived there, harvesting rare minerals from the asteroid field. They had been evacuated to underground shelters. The colony administrator had reported panic among the population. An unknown ship appearing from nowhere was the stuff of children's nightmares. "Admiral, we are detecting unusual energy signatures from the vessel," a technician called out. "The readings do not match any known power source." Kethra moved to his station. She studied the data streaming across the screen. The energy signature was irregular, fluctuating in ways that made no sense. Valorian ships used stable antimatter reactors. Crithian ships used plasma cores. Other species relied on fusion or even primitive fission. But this signature was different. It seemed to pulse and shift as if the ship itself was alive. "Could it be a weapon?" she asked. "Unknown, Admiral. Our sensors cannot penetrate the hull. Whatever material they used, it blocks our scans. That should not be possible." "I know, Admiral, but the readings are clear. We cannot see inside that ship." Kethra felt her scales prickle. Technology that blocked Valorian sensors did not exist. Even the Crithians, their greatest rivals, could not hide from Imperial scanning arrays. Yet this primitive-looking vessel somehow could. "Cruiser 1 is in position," Vossall reported. "They are attempting docking procedures." On the screen, the first cruiser moved alongside the unknown ship. A docking tube extended from the cruiser's hull, reaching toward the mysterious vessel. The tube contained a universal coupling system designed to interface with any known airlock design. "Cruiser 1 reports the coupling is not compatible," Vossall said. "The airlock design is completely foreign. They cannot establish a seal." "Then cut through the hull," Kethra ordered. "Carefully. I want a boarding team inside that ship within the hour." Before the order could be executed, every screen in the command center flickered. The image of the unknown ship changed. Symbols appeared on its hull, glowing with soft white light. They looked ancient, hand-drawn almost. Kethra recognized them immediately. Her breath caught in her throat. "Get me a linguist," she snapped. "Now." Within seconds, Scholar Prenix appeared on a secondary screen. He was old. His scales faded to pale gray. He had dedicated his life to studying ancient languages and dead civilizations. "Admiral, how may I serve?" "Look at these symbols. Tell me what they mean." Prenny adjusted his viewing lens. His eyes widened. "Admiral, these are ancient glyphs from the Trader tongue, a language that has not been used in over 2,000 cycles. It was the universal language before the modern galactic standard was adopted." "What do they say?" The old scholar traced the symbols with his finger on the screen. "They spell one word, Admiral. Human." Silence fell over the command center. Every officer stopped and stared at the screen. Kethra felt ice run through her veins. She knew that word. Every educated Valorian knew that word. "Pull up file designation preservation 3847, she ordered. The database search took only moments. A report appeared on the main screen. It was dated 300 cycles ago. A survey ship had discovered a small yellow star in a remote sector. The third planet from that star contained life, primitive life. The dominant species called themselves humans. They were bipedal mammals with no natural weapons, no armor, and no apparent special abilities. They lived in small groups and fought each other with metal weapons. Their technology was pre-industrial. The survey team had recommended placing the planet under the Preservation Directive, which forbade contact until the species reached spaceflight capability on their own. The Empire had agreed. The file was closed and forgotten. "This cannot be," Kethra whispered. "The projections estimated humans would not achieve space travel for another 500 cycles. Their development rate was within normal parameters, slow but steady." "Admiral," Vossal interrupted, "the ship is broadcasting. Audio only. The signal is in perfect Valorian language. Put it through." A voice filled the command center. It was female, speaking Valorian with a slight accent. The tone was calm, even amused. "Valorian vessels, this is Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran Coalition ship Endeavor. We come in peace. We have been trying to contact you for the past 6 hours using what we thought were standard galactic frequencies. We apologize if we startled you. May I ask why you are pointing weapons at a diplomatic vessel?" The command center erupted into chaos. Officers shouted questions. Technicians checked and rechecked their equipment. Kethra stood frozen, staring at the image of the primitive-looking ship on her screen. Humans. Impossible backward humans. In space, speaking Valorian, with technology that could breach the quantum fold barrier. For the first time in her long career, Admiral Kethra did not know what to do. The High Council chamber was the most impressive room in the Empire. Built from crystal mined from the core of a dying star, its walls shimmered with every color imaginable. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing star maps, fleet positions, and economic data. 50 counselors sat in a circle around the central platform where speakers presented their cases. Each counselor represented a different sector of the Empire. Together, they advised the Emperor and made decisions that affected trillions of lives. Today, every seat was filled. No counselor wanted to miss this. Admiral Kethra stood on the central platform. She looked tired. She had not slept in 2 days. Behind her, the holographic image of the human ship rotated slowly. Next to it, a second image showed a human female, Captain Sarah Chen. Her image had been captured from her broadcast. She looked strange to Valorian eyes. Her skin was smooth without scales or fur. Her hair was dark and tied back. Her eyes were small, blue, and focused. She wore a uniform that was simple and functional. No decorations. No rank symbols that the Valorians could recognize. Just a patch on her shoulder showing a blue planet with green continents. "This is the human," Kethra said. "She calls herself a captain. Her ship is named Endeavor. She claims to represent something called the Terran Coalition." Councillor Vrenthar, an old politician known for his aggressive views, leaned forward. "How is this possible, Admiral? Our records clearly state that humans were primitive 300 cycles ago. Pre-industrial. They had barely discovered electricity." "I do not know, Counselor. But the evidence is clear. They are here, in space, with technology we do not fully understand." "What do you mean, do not understand?" another counselor asked. Kethra pulled up a new display. Our sensors cannot penetrate their hull. Their power signature matches nothing in our database. They breached our quantum fold barrier, which should be impossible, and they speak perfect Valorian, despite having no previous contact with our species. The council chamber filled with worried whispers. Kethra continued. Captain Chen has requested an audience with Imperial leadership. She says she carries official greetings from her government. She wants to establish diplomatic relations. Diplomatic relations? Renthar laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. With primitives? This is absurd. We should capture their ship, study their technology, and place their planet under Imperial control before they become a problem. I advise against that course of action, Kethra said firmly. We do not know their capabilities. This may be a scout ship. There may be others. Admiral, they are humans. According to our files, they are weak creatures with short lifespans. What threat could they possibly pose? Before Kethra could answer, a message appeared on her personal display. Her eyes widened. Counselors, I have just received new information from our intelligence division. It seems Captain Chen was truthful about one thing. She is not alone. The main holographic display changed. It showed a star map of nearby sectors. 3 different locations glowed with red markers. Our deep space monitoring stations have detected human settlements in these 3 systems. All outside Valorian space. All established within the last 10 cycles. We never detected them because we were not looking. We assumed humans were still on their homeworld. Silence fell over the chamber. 50 counselors stared at the map. 3 settlements. 3 entire colonies that had been built without the Empire's knowledge. The Emperor himself entered the chamber through a side door. Everyone stood immediately. Emperor Tharnix was ancient, over 200 cycles old. His scales had faded to silver. He moved slowly, supported by 2 guards, but his eyes were still sharp and intelligent. He had ruled the Empire for 80 cycles. He had seen much, but even he looked troubled. Bring the human here, the Emperor said. His voice was quiet but commanding. I will speak with her myself. 2 days later, Captain Sarah Chen stood in the same chamber where Admiral Kethra had presented her report. She looked small and fragile compared to the massive Valorian counselors around her. She wore the same simple uniform. No weapons, no guards. She stood alone in the center of the chamber, looking calm. Too calm, Kethra thought. The Admiral stood near the Emperor's throne, watching carefully. This human should be terrified. She was surrounded by beings twice her size, in the heart of an empire that controlled 10,000 star systems. Yet she showed no fear. Captain Chen, the Emperor began. Welcome to Valoria Prime. I apologize for the initial misunderstanding at Hesperus 7. Sarah smiled. No apology necessary, Your Majesty. We should have announced our arrival more clearly. We are still learning galactic protocols. Learning quickly, it seems. Your Valorian is perfect. We had good teachers. We found one of your old survey beacons about 8 years ago. It contained language files and basic information about the major galactic powers. We have been studying ever since. 8 years. Vrenthar interrupted. Impossible. It takes decades to master Valorian properly. Sarah turned to face him. I apologize, Counselor, but I do not know your name. I am Counselor Vrenthar, representative of the military sectors. A pleasure to meet you, Counselor. To answer your question, humans have developed advanced learning techniques and neural enhancement technology. We can learn languages much faster than before. Currently, I speak 17 different Earth languages and 5 galactic languages. Neural enhancement, Scholar Prenix spoke up. He had been invited to attend the meeting. You mean you have modified your own brains? In a manner of speaking? We use nanotechnology to improve memory and learning speed. It is completely safe and reversible. The counselors whispered among themselves. Nanotechnology was not unknown in the Empire, but using it to modify organic brains was considered dangerous. Most species had tried and failed. The risk of damage was too high. Captain Chen, the Emperor said, I will be direct. How did your species advance so quickly? 300 cycles ago, you had not even reached your own moon. Now you breach our most advanced defenses and establish colonies across multiple sectors. This rate of development is unprecedented. Sarah nodded. Your Majesty, humans have always been good at 2 things. We learn quickly, and we refuse to accept limitations. When we discovered we were not alone in the universe, it changed everything. We united as a species for the first time in our history. Every nation, every government, every corporation focused on one goal, reaching the stars before we destroyed ourselves. Destroyed yourselves? The Emperor asked. Yes, Your Majesty. We are not a peaceful species. We have fought wars for thousands of years. We nearly ended our own civilization multiple times with nuclear weapons, biological plagues, and environmental destruction. Space exploration gave us a new purpose, a new frontier. It saved us from ourselves. Admiral Kethra stepped forward. Captain, our intelligence shows you have colonies in 3 different sectors. How many ships does Earth have? Sarah's smile widened slightly. That is classified information, Admiral. But I can tell you that Endeavour is not our most advanced vessel. It is actually one of our older models. We keep it in service because it has proven reliable. The chamber erupted. Counselors shouted questions. If this was an old ship, what did their new ships look like? How many did they have? What weapons did they carry? The Emperor raised one hand. Silence fell immediately. Captain Chen, what does your government want? We want peace, Your Majesty. We want trade agreements, cultural exchange, and mutual defense treaties. We know the galaxy is dangerous. We have already encountered hostile species. We would prefer to have friends rather than enemies. And if we refuse? Frenthar asked coldly. Sarah met his eyes without flinching. Then we will remain neutral and focus on our own territories. But I would remind the Council that humanity survived and thrived on a planet that tried to kill us every day. Ice ages, supervolcanoes, asteroid impacts, plagues, predators, and our own violence. We are still here. We are adaptable. We are persistent. And we do not give up. The Emperor studied her for a long moment. You make your species sound formidable, Captain. I make us sound honest, Your Majesty. We know we are young compared to the Empire. We have much to learn, but we are not weak. And we are not going away. Before anyone could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the palace. Admiral Kethra received an urgent message. Her face went pale. Your Majesty, she said urgently, we have just received reports from the human colony called New Horizon. The Crithian Dominion has launched an attack. They are attempting to conquer the settlement. Every eye turned to Sarah. Her calm expression never changed. But something cold appeared in her eyes. Something dangerous. How long ago? She asked quietly. The attack began 4 hours ago, Kethra replied. Sarah touched a small device on her wrist. She spoke in a language the Valorians did not recognize. English. Her native tongue. The conversation was brief. When she finished, she looked at the Emperor. Your Majesty, I need to return to my ship immediately. But before I go, I want you to know something. The Crithians made a mistake. New Horizon is home to 50,000 humans. 20,000 of them are former military personnel. They are armed, trained, and very angry. Additionally, 47 Terran warships will arrive at New Horizon within 18 hours. 47? Vrenthar whispered. Sarah smiled, but it was not a friendly expression. Did I forget to mention? Earth's policy is very simple. The Crithian battle fleet arrived at New Horizon with confidence. Commander Zalthek stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Crimson Talon, watching the human colony grow larger on the view screen. It looked pathetic. Small domes scattered across the surface of a rocky moon, a few orbital stations, mining equipment. Nothing impressive. This will be quick, Zalthek said to his officers. The humans are primitives playing at civilization. We will teach them their place. The Crithians were a warrior species. Their empire was smaller than the Valorian Empire, but their military was fierce. They had fought countless wars across the centuries. They had conquered 17 different species. They believed in strength above all else. When they heard about humans establishing colonies near their territory, they saw it as an insult. These newcomers needed to be put in their place. Open fire on the orbital stations, Zalthex commanded. Destroy them all. Plasma beams lanced through space. The first orbital station exploded in a ball of fire. The second station tried to move but was too slow. It broke apart under the bombardment. The third station activated shields, but they failed within seconds. Crithian weapons were powerful and proven in battle. The orbitals are destroyed, Commander, his tactical officer reported. Minimal resistance. The humans are running. Of course they are running, Zalthex laughed. They are weak. Prepare landing forces. We will claim this colony for the Dominion. 10 transport ships descended toward the moon's surface. Each carried 200 Crithian soldiers. They were heavily armed and armored. They had fought against species far more dangerous than humans. This would be easy. The transports landed near the largest dome. The doors opened and soldiers poured out, weapons ready. They expected to find terrified civilians. Instead, they found an empty plaza. "No humans anywhere. Where are they?" a soldier asked. The answer came in the form of an explosion. The transport they had just left erupted in flames. Then another explosion. And another. Within seconds, all 10 transports were burning wreckage. "Ambush!" someone shouted. Gunfire erupted from every direction. But it was not the plasma weapons the Crithians expected. These were chemical projectile weapons. Primitive bullets. They should not have been able to penetrate Crithian armor. But somehow they did. Soldiers began falling. "Return fire!" an officer screamed. The Crithians fired their plasma rifles at the buildings. Windows shattered. Walls crumbled. But the human fire did not stop. It came from everywhere and nowhere. The Crithians could not see their enemy. They are using the buildings as cover, another officer realized. They know the terrain. We do not. More Crithians fell. Their armor, which had protected them in dozens of battles, seemed useless against human weapons. The bullets found weak points, joints, seals, vision ports. These humans knew exactly where to aim. "Fall back to the landing zone," the commanding officer ordered. But there was no landing zone anymore. Just burning wreckage. The Crithians were trapped in an urban environment against an enemy they could not see. Then the humans showed themselves. They emerged from buildings, from underground tunnels, from behind barricades that had been prepared in advance. They wore simple combat armor. They carried weapons that looked basic compared to Crithian plasma rifles. But they moved with precision and discipline. These were not civilians. These were soldiers. One human stepped forward from the group. He was older, with gray hair and scars on his face. He carried an old rifle and wore a jacket with patches on it. He spoke in Crithian language. "I am Colonel Marcus Webb, formerly of the United Earth Defense Forces. I am now governor of New Horizon Colony. You have attacked a civilian settlement in violation of galactic law. Surrender your weapons and you will be treated as prisoners of war. Resist and you will be eliminated." The Crithian officer laughed. "You think we will surrender to primitives? We are Crithian warriors. We have conquered entire worlds." Colonel Webb sighed. "I was hoping you would say that." "Fire teams, execute Plan Delta." The humans opened fire with coordinated precision. They did not spray bullets wildly. Each shot was aimed and controlled. Crithians fell in perfect sequence. Their return fire hit nothing but empty air. The humans had already moved to new positions. Within 10 minutes, the Crithian landing force was destroyed. 200 soldiers dead or captured, not a single human casualty. Back in orbit, Commander Zalthek stared at his screens in disbelief. Impossible. How could primitives defeat trained Crithian warriors? "Commander, we are receiving a transmission from the colony," his communications officer reported. "Put it through." Colonel Webb appeared on the screen. He looked calm. Behind him, captured Crithian soldiers knelt with their hands bound. "Commander Zalthek's, I presume. Let me explain something about humans. We have been fighting wars for 10,000 years. We have perfected the art of killing each other. Many of the colonists here are veterans of Earth's military forces. We have fought in jungles, deserts, cities, and mountains. We know urban warfare. We know guerrilla tactics. We know how to turn any environment into a killing ground." Zalthex felt rage building in his chest. "You will pay for this, human. I have 12 warships. I will burn your colony to ashes." "You could try," Webb said. "But I should mention something. About 4 hours ago, New Horizons sent a distress signal. The Terran Coalition takes attacks on our people very seriously. You have maybe 12 hours before our fleet arrives. If I were you, I would leave now while you still can." "I do not run from primitives," Zalthex roared. He cut the transmission and turned to his officers. "Prepare orbital bombardment. We will destroy the entire colony from space." His tactical officer looked nervous. "Commander, bombardment of civilian targets is considered a war crime under galactic law. The Valorian Empire might intervene. Let them. The humans started this by establishing colonies in our territory. We are simply defending what is ours." The Crithian ships moved into bombardment positions, their weapons locked onto the colony below. But before they could fire, new contacts appeared on their sensors. Ships were emerging from faster-than-light travel. Many ships. "Commander, we are detecting 47 vessels incoming. They are broadcasting Terran Coalition identification codes." 47. Exactly as the human colonel had said. Zalthex felt his confidence waver. "What class of ships?" "Unknown, Commander. Our sensors cannot identify them." They do not match any known design patterns. The human fleet spread out in a perfect formation. They did not attack immediately. Instead, they waited. One ship moved forward ahead of the others. It was larger than a Crythian cruiser but smaller than a battleship. Its hull was dark gray with white markings. A transmission came through. This time it was a different human, a woman with dark hair and a captain's uniform. Zalthex recognized her from intelligence reports. Captain Sarah Chen, Crythian vessels, this is Captain Chen of the TCS Endeavor. You have attacked a civilian colony in violation of multiple galactic treaties. You have killed innocent people and destroyed civilian infrastructure. You have one chance to surrender peacefully. Zalthex laughed. I have 12 warships, human. You may have numbers, but we have superior firepower and centuries of combat experience. Sarah's expression did not change. I gave you a chance. Remember that. The transmission ended. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the human fleet attacked. It was not like any space battle Zalthex had ever seen. The humans did not charge forward in formation. They did not exchange broadside fire like civilized navies. Instead, they moved like a swarm of insects. Fast. Unpredictable. Their ships split into groups and attacked from multiple angles at once. Crythian plasma cannons fired. But the human ships dodged with impossible agility. Their ships were smaller and faster than anything Zalthex had faced before. They used their speed as a weapon, darting in and out of range before his gunners could track them properly. Then the humans returned fire. Their weapons were strange. Not plasma or lasers, something else. Missiles that moved far too fast. Energy beams that cut through shields like they were not even there. And something new, something terrifying. One Crythian cruiser simply disappeared. It was there one moment and gone the next. Not destroyed, just gone, vanished into empty space. What happened to the Venom's strike? Zalthex demanded. Unknown, Commander. Our sensors show a massive spatial distortion at its last position. It is as if the ship was pulled into another dimension. Another cruiser disappeared. Then another. The Crythians fired desperately, but they could not hit the fast-moving human ships. Meanwhile, Crythian vessels kept disappearing or exploding or simply going dark as their systems failed. They are using some kind of wormhole weapon, the science officer shouted. They are teleporting our ship somewhere. Where? Zalthex screamed, I do not know. The calculations required for that technology should be impossible. The battle lasted less than an hour. When it was over, 6 Crythian ships had been destroyed. 4 had disappeared into whatever dark dimension the humans had sent them. 2 had surrendered. Only Zalthex's flagship remained operational, and barely. Sarah Chen's face appeared on his screen again. Commander, your fleet is defeated. Your landing force is captured. Your bombardment failed. Now News of the Battle of New Horizons spread across the galaxy within days. Every species heard the story. The Crythian Dominion, one of the most powerful military forces in known space, had been humiliated by a species that had only been in space for 15 years. Some species laughed. Others worried. The Valorian Empire did neither. They calculated that Emperor Tharnik sat in his private chambers reading reports. Admiral Kethra stood nearby waiting for his response. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of holographic displays. 47 ships, the Emperor said finally. They deployed 47 ships to rescue one colony. What does that tell us, Admiral? That they have more ships, Your Majesty. Many more. If they can spare 47 for a single colony defense, their total fleet must be significant. And these weapons. Wormhole technology. Our scientists say it should be impossible. Kethra nodded. Human technology is advancing at a rate we cannot predict. What seems impossible today may be common for them tomorrow. Their learning curve is exponential, not linear. The Emperor set down his tablet. We have a choice to make. We can treat humans as potential enemies, which means an arms race we may not win, or we can treat them as potential allies. Counselor Vrenthar will oppose an alliance. He sees humans as a threat. Counselor Vrenthar sees threats everywhere. That is why he is useful. Fear keeps us alert. But fear without wisdom leads to mistakes. The Crythians learned that lesson. A chime sounded. The Emperor's secretary entered and bowed. Your Majesty, Captain Chen has returned to Valoria Prime. She requests an audience. Show her in. Sarah entered moments later. She looked tired but composed. She bowed respectfully. Your Majesty, thank you for seeing me. Captain Chen. I hear your colony successfully defended itself against Crithian aggression. Yes, Your Majesty, with minimal casualties on our side. The Crithians suffered significant losses. We have returned their prisoners and offered medical assistance. You returned your prisoners? Kethra asked, surprised. After they attacked your colony? Yes, Admiral. We do not believe in needless cruelty. The soldiers were following orders. We hold no grudge against them personally. We did, however, make it very clear that future attacks will not be tolerated. The Emperor studied her carefully. You are a fascinating species, Captain. You fight with brutal efficiency, yet show mercy to defeated enemies. You develop weapons that violate known physics, yet you establish colonies focused on farming and research. You claim to be peaceful, yet you destroyed a Crithian battle fleet in under an hour. Who are humans, truly? Sarah thought for a moment before answering. Your Majesty, humans are contradictions. We are capable of great kindness and terrible violence. We build and we destroy. We love and we hate. What makes us human is that we are always both things at once. We fight wars to achieve peace. We develop weapons to protect the weak. We are aggressive because our history taught us that passive species become extinct. On Earth, every major predator was stronger than us, faster than us, had better weapons than us. We survived by being smarter, more adaptable, and more willing to work together when needed. We are not the biggest or the strongest species, but we refuse to lose. That is what makes us human. The Emperor leaned back in his throne. I have decided to offer humanity a formal alliance. The Valorian Empire and the Terran Coalition will sign a mutual defense treaty. We will share technology, establish trade routes, and support each other against common threats. Sarah's eyes widened slightly. Your Majesty, that is incredibly generous. But I must ask why? What does the Empire gain from an alliance with such a young civilization? Honestly, Captain? We gain the assurance that you will not become our enemy. After seeing what you did to the Crithians, I would prefer to have humans fighting beside us rather than against us. The galaxy is large and dangerous. Strong allies are valuable. There is also another reason, Admiral Kethra added. Human innovation. You advance faster than any species we have encountered. An alliance gives us access to that innovation. We can learn from each other, Sarah smiled. I accept on behalf of the Terran Coalition, pending approval from our government. But I should warn you, Your Majesty. Allying with humans comes with certain expectations. We do not tolerate slavery. We do not permit genocide. We intervene when civilians are threatened. These are not negotiable positions. The Valorian Empire abolished slavery 4,000 cycles ago, the Emperor said. We have laws against genocide and war crimes. Our values may be more compatible than you think. Then I believe we have the foundation for a strong alliance. The formal treaty was signed 3 weeks later. Representatives from both governments met on a neutral station. The ceremony was broadcast across Valorian space. Many citizens were curious about their new allies. Some were excited. Others were nervous. Councillor Vrenthar was furious. He stood in the High Council chamber addressing his fellow councillors with barely controlled anger. This is madness. We are allying with primitives who have been in space for only 15 years. They are unpredictable, violent, and potentially dangerous. Scholar Prenix, the old linguist, replied calmly. They are also innovative, adaptable, and surprisingly honorable. They returned Crithian prisoners when they could have executed them. They offered medical aid to those who attacked them. These are not the actions of mindless barbarians. They destroyed 6 Crithian warships and teleported 4 others to unknown dimensions. They could do the same to us. They could, the Emperor said, entering the chamber. But they will not. Because we are not attacking their colonies. We are not threatening their people. The humans have shown they respond to aggression with overwhelming force and to diplomacy with genuine cooperation. We would be fools to choose aggression when cooperation is offered freely. Vrenthar was not satisfied. Your Majesty, with respect, you are gambling the Empire's future on these creatures. What if they betray us? What if their rapid advancement makes them decide they no longer need allies? Then we will deal with that problem when it arrives, the Emperor said. For now, the alliance serves both our interests. And, Counselor, I suggest you visit one of their colonies. Meet these humans yourself. You may be surprised. Vrenthar did exactly that. 3 weeks after the treaty was signed, he traveled to a human agricultural colony called Green Haven. He went expecting to find crude settlements and unsophisticated people. What he found shocked him. Green Haven was beautiful. The colony had been built around the natural landscape rather than bulldozing through it. Farms used advanced hydroponics and genetic engineering to produce crops that fed millions. Cities were clean and efficient, with architecture that blended multiple Earth cultures into something unique. The people were diverse, representing different skin colors, languages, and traditions, all working together. Vrenthar met with the colony's administrator, a woman named Dr. Amara Okafor. She was a scientist who specialized in terraforming and ecological engineering. She showed him projects that were decades ahead of anything the Valorians were attempting. "How did you achieve this level of terraforming in only 6 years?" Vrenthar asked, studying a thriving forest that should not exist on this planet's harsh environment. Dr. Okafor smiled. "Trial and error, counselor. We failed many times before we succeeded, but humans are good at learning from failure. Every mistake teaches us something new. This technology could transform barren worlds across the Empire. We would be happy to share it. That is the point of an alliance, yes? We help each other." Vrenthar spent 3 days on Green Haven. He met farmers, engineers, teachers, and soldiers. He ate human food, which was surprisingly good. He watched human children playing games that reminded him of Valorian childhood traditions. He began to understand something important. Humans were not so different from other species. They had families. They had hopes and dreams. They built communities and worked for better futures. Yes, they were capable of violence. But so was every species that had survived long enough to reach space. What made humans unique was not their violence. It was their optimism. Despite their brutal history, despite all the wars and disasters and near extinctions, humans still believed tomorrow could be better than today. They still reached for the stars with hope instead of fear. When Vrenthar returned to Valoria Prime, he requested a private meeting with the Emperor. "Your Majesty, I was wrong. The alliance was the correct decision. Humans are not a threat to be contained. They are a resource to be valued." "What changed your mind, counselor?" "I met a human child on Green Haven. She was maybe 8 cycles old. She was studying xenobiology, learning about Valorian culture and dozens of other species. When I asked her why, she said she wanted to be a diplomat when she grew up. She wanted to help different species understand each other. An 8-cycle-old child had dreams of galactic peace. That kind of optimism is rare in the galaxy, Your Majesty. We should protect it, not destroy it." The Emperor smiled. "I am pleased you understand. The galaxy needs hope. Humanity brings that in abundance. But not everyone in the galaxy was pleased with the new alliance. In the Crithian capital, military leaders gathered to discuss their humiliating defeat. Supreme Commander Kralix addressed the War Council with cold fury. "The humans embarrassed us. They made the Crithian Dominion look weak in front of the entire galaxy. This cannot stand. We will rebuild our fleet." The war began at a place called the Divide. It was a neutral sector between Crithian and Valorian space. 3 jump gates connected the sector to the rest of the galaxy. Whoever controlled the Divide controlled trade routes that affected trillions of credits in commerce. The Crithians attacked with overwhelming force, hoping to take the sector before the Alliance could respond. They were wrong. Supreme Commander Kralix led the Crithian fleet personally. 200 warships, the largest fleet the Dominion had assembled in 50 years. He stood on the bridge of his super dreadnought, the Endless War, watching the Divide grow closer on his view screens. "This time will be different," he told his officers. "We have prepared. We have studied human tactics. We will not be caught off guard again." The Crithian fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. Battle groups spread out, covering all approach vectors. Fighters launched. Shields activated. Every ship was ready. Then the humans and Valorians arrived. The Alliance fleet was smaller. Only 100 ships total. 50 Valorian cruisers and 50 human vessels. But what they lacked in numbers, they made up for in coordination. The 2 fleets moved as one, their formations interlocking like puzzle pieces. Admiral Kethra commanded the Valorian forces from her flagship. Captain Chen commanded the human forces from a new ship, the TCS Defiance. It was larger than the Endeavor, built specifically for fleet combat. The 2 commanders maintained constant communication, their tactics flowing seamlessly from one to the other. Crithian forces detected, Kethra's tactical officer reported. 200 ships. They outnumber us 2 to 1. Numbers are not everything, Kethra replied. She opened a channel to Sarah. "Captain Chen, are your forces ready?" "Ready and waiting, Admiral. Let's show them what cooperation looks like." The battle began with the Crithians attacking first. Their plasma cannons fired in coordinated volleys, designed to overwhelm defensive shields. It was a standard Crithian tactic that had worked for centuries. The Alliance fleet scattered. Valorian ships peeled left. Human ships peeled right. The plasma volleys hit empty space. Before the Crithians could adjust their aim, the counterattack began. Valorian ships had superior shields and firepower. They drew Crithian attention, absorbing damage while their weapons pounded enemy vessels. Meanwhile, human ships darted through the chaos like sharks through water. They were smaller and faster than Valorian cruisers, able to slip through gaps in Crithian formations. Human tactics were unlike anything the Crithians had faced. They did not fight with honor or follow predictable patterns. They attacked from unexpected angles. They used debris fields as cover. They fired missiles that split into dozens of smaller warheads, overwhelming point defense systems. They were unpredictable, creative, and ruthlessly efficient. Kralix watched as his fleet struggled to adapt. They are fighting like pirates, not honorable warriors. Commander, 3 of our battle groups have been disabled. The humans are targeting our engines, leaving us helpless but alive. They should be destroying us, not crippling us. What kind of warfare is this? The answer came over an open channel. Sarah Chen's voice broadcast to the entire Crithian fleet. Crithian forces, this is Captain Chen. We are disabling your ships rather than destroying them because we are not here to commit genocide. We are here to teach a lesson. Surrender now and your crews will be treated with respect. Continue fighting and we will remove your ability to fight. The choice is yours. Never! Kralix roared. All ships concentrate fire on the human flagship. Kill their commander. 50 Crithian ships turned their weapons toward the Defiance. The firepower would have been enough to vaporize a small moon. But the human ship did not run. Instead, it activated a weapon the Crithians had not seen before. Space itself seemed to bend around the Defiance. The plasma bolts curved away, redirected by some kind of gravitational field. Instead of hitting their target, the shots veered off and struck Crithian ships in friendly fire. What is that? Kralix demanded. Some kind of localized gravity manipulation, his science officer replied, his voice filled with awe and fear. They are bending space-time around their ship. Our weapons cannot touch them. The Defiance did not just defend. It attacked. A beam of purple energy shot from its main cannon. The beam did not explode on impact. Instead, it passed through the shields of a Crithian cruiser like they did not exist. The ship's systems went dark. Dead in space. Not destroyed, but completely disabled. Sarah's voice came through again. That was a neural disruptor beam. It shuts down electronic systems without harming organic crew. We can do this to every ship in your fleet, Commander, or you can surrender and save your people. Kralix felt something he had never felt before in his long military career. Desperation. The humans were not just winning. They were making it look easy. They had weapons and tactics the Crithians could not counter. And worse, they were showing mercy, which made them seem even more powerful. All ships, he said quietly. Retreat, fall back to Crithian space. Commander, we cannot retreat. Our honor will not matter if we are all dead. Retreat now. That is an order. The Crithian fleet began pulling back. Human and Valorian ships pursued but did not press the attack. They were content to drive the enemy away. As the Crithians jumped to faster than light speed, they left behind 15 disabled ships and thousands of crew members in escape pods. The Alliance fleet began rescue operations immediately. They treated wounded Crithians with the same care they would give their own people. They provided food, water, and medical attention. The Crithian prisoners were confused. They had expected to be tortured or executed. Instead, they were treated like guests. One Crithian soldier, wounded and frightened, asked his human medic, "Why are you helping us?" "We attacked you." The medic, a young woman named Lieutenant Park, smiled gently. "Because you are injured and we are not monsters. War is terrible enough without adding cruelty. You are someone's son, someone's friend. You deserve medical care regardless of which side you fight for." The soldier stared at her, trying to understand. Humans made no sense to him. They fought with brutal efficiency but showed kindness to defeated enemies. They had weapons that could destroy planets but used them to disable ships instead. They were contradictions, impossible to predict or understand. Back on their homeworlds, both sides assessed the battle. The Crithians had lost decisively. Their casualties were relatively low, but their pride was shattered. The Alliance had proven that superior numbers meant nothing against superior coordination and technology. Emperor Tharnix met with his military council to discuss the victory. The Alliance worked perfectly. Human tactics combined with Valorian firepower created a force greater than the sum of its parts. The humans continue to surprise us, Admiral Kethra said. Their gravity manipulation technology should not be possible. Yet they deployed it in battle as if it were routine. Where do they get these innovations? A counselor asked. Kethra pulled up a report. According to Captain Chen, human scientists work in highly competitive environments. Universities, corporations, and government labs all race to develop new technology. They share basic research freely but compete to create practical applications. This competition drives rapid innovation. Competition? The Valorian Empire shares all scientific research among our people. We cooperate, not compete. Yes, and our research advances steadily but slowly. Humans advance through creative chaos. Both systems have merit, but in terms of speed, the human method is clearly effective. The Emperor nodded thoughtfully. We have much to learn from our allies. Admiral, I want you to establish a joint research station where human and Valorian scientists can work together. We will combine our methods and see what develops. An excellent idea, Your Majesty. On Earth, the Terran Coalition Council met to discuss the war. They gathered in Geneva, in a building that had once hosted peace negotiations during humanity's bloodiest conflicts. Now it hosted discussions about galactic warfare. Secretary General Okonkwo addressed the council. The Battle of the Divide was a success, but the war is not over. The Crithians will rebuild and attack again. We must prepare for a long conflict. Our production facilities are already working at maximum capacity, the defense minister reported. We are building 30 new warships per month. Our shipyards on Luna, Mars, and Titan are all operational. What about the new weapon systems? The neural disruptors performed perfectly. The gravity shields exceeded expectations. We are also developing something new. Project Helios. It uses focused solar energy as a weapon. Initial tests are promising. What are our casualties so far? 0 fatalities in the Battle of the Divide. 12 injuries, all minor. Our tactics of disabling enemy ships rather than destroying them have proven effective both militarily and morally. A counselor from the European Union spoke up. I am concerned about the long-term implications. We are showing the galaxy that humans are formidable warriors. Will this make other species fear us? Will they see us as a threat? Secretary General Okonkwo considered the question carefully.
Fear is inevitable when you display strength.
But respect comes from how you use that strength. We have treated PRI,